author of Tripping Over Canvases, How to Open Your Own Art Gallery with No Experience, and art director here at Above Art Studios, located at 55 Moore Street, downtown New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. We are here today with a special guest, Mrs. Chase Jackson. I'm
Hello.
tongue tied for some reason.
That's
Like
okay.
Jackson. Um, but Miss Chase Jackson is here with us today. She is the program and grants manager. Chase, can you tell us a little bit about the organization that you are in that position for?
Sure. It's the name of the organization is the Bayshore Center at Bivalve. That's like two valves, which denotes most people think of a bivalve as an oyster because it's all about the oysters. We are a nonprofit organization that whose mission is all about preserving the culture and history of the Bayshore region, as well as the environmental aspects of water and our human impact on the water. So I'm really working for where the environment and history meets. However, I do the arts most of what I do is programming around the culture and the history and the arts of that community. And it's in Cumberland County in Port Norris in a little fishing village called Bivalve. And so I do the programming and write most of the grants, not all of them, but most of them. Yeah. Should I talk about my other organization too?
Yes, let us know about your the organization.
Okay.
Chase.
All right. And also, I have my own nonprofit arts organization called Chase Arts. And with that organization, my it's really a community arts organization. So I really delve into the community with the community's mores and culture at its core. And I have my mantra, a mantra, because I'm from the South, so I don't know how the Northerns say it. I'm really from the South. But I have a mantra, and my mantra is I use the arts as an educational, motivational, and economic development tool, as well as a tool for cross-cultural communications and interaction. So that's what I do. And I do a lot of producing of plays. I have um, several residencies, and they're mostly performing arts residencies, drum, I can't say circles, they're conversations, drum conversations, and things of that nature as well. And poetry slams and story slams and all that stuff. So that's what Chase Arts does. Yep.
Oh, nice, nice. So you're pretty active then. Pretty
Yeah.
active.
And that's not all that I do, but I also act. But you're asking jobs, you talk of businesses, that's my businesses, the two things.
Productions and other productions.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I during COVID, all this quarantine, I've done two readings for Cape May stage here in Cape May on virtual plays on and Cape May stage is the for-profit is the nonprofit union professional theater company in Cape May, and I've done two plays with them this season, and now I'm doing. And this is really not creative, but it's still creative because it's improv. I'll be doing improv for Memorial Sloan Kettering in a program they have that's called a ComSkill program. And it's where they have a training session for their doctors and their nurses to learn how to be empathetic. Is that right?
Yeah.
Sympathy, yeah, to have empathy for and compassion for their patients as they're talking to them. And it's an improv. So I get to do that with them as well. That's kind of cool. I love that one. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, yeah. It's really fun. I've done
Yeah.
it. I
Yep.
like it. So when did you start acting? How long
Okay.
you been?
Well, okay. So because you one of the questions I think you gave me the prompted was like, am I an artist? I
Yeah.
thought I was an artist when I was in high school and going into college. I thought I was a visual artist. I really wanted to be a visual artist. I really wanted to be what we now call a graphic designer. That's what it really was. But in those days, they weren't called that. They were called oh gosh, they had another name. I can't remember the name of it now. But anyway, I wanted to be that. But I realize now that what I should have strived to do was be an ad man, like to go in and be creative and come up with the promotional aspect of it, because I really love that part of it, naming things and coming up with gimmicky stuff. But anyway, so I went into to college thinking I was going to be a visual artist until I got to figure drawing class. And when I got a figure drawing class, and the professor chastised me because I drew one arm disproportionate to the other. And I told him Polaroid had just come out with the cameras. And I said, if you want a freaking, I really didn't say freaking, if you want a perfect picture, get a freaking Polaroid. So I said, I cannot create on demand. That's what I said. so then I realized, this is not for me. And I got out of the arts and I went into something that I figured I'd drop out of school because I wanted to come to New York and be this graphic designer. I think it was Arts Illustrated, something like that. But anyway, so I was going to go there and just leave school, but my parents wouldn't let me. They made me an adult, but they made me go to college. So I said, well, I'm going to take some time. I'm a flunk. So I took accounting because I hated math. But I land instruments, Tandy Corporation back in the day had developed these handheld transistorized calculators. So I didn't flunk because I didn't have to add, subtract, and multiply. I could do it with machines. And so I passed accounting and became an accountant for 15 years. But I was doing arts in the community on the side as a community person, dealing with festivals and plays. And that's how I got into acting. I got into plays and I started doing set design and set construction. Then I became the production manager. Then I became a board member. And then, and on and on and on, and acting on the side as well. So that's how I got into acting. That's how I got into it. Yeah.
And set design is very artistic as well.
Yes. Well, look, I said I wanted to be an artist. I always thought I had it's like I have this aesthetic and I have some capabilities, but I'm really not proficient at being an artist. And I don't practice it at all. I mean, I practice it just if you came to my house, you would say, wow, because I got a lot of stuff in here. But it's somebody else did it, but I've got the eye. Do you know what I mean? I still have the eye, but I don't have the skill sets because I told you I cussed the professor out. But anyway, so I dropped it. But I know now that that's not what I should have been doing anyway, because I act, I like visual arts. I did everything. I even took dancing. I sang in the college choir, so I sing a little blues. When I want to pull a blues group together, I put a blues group together, so I do a little bit of all the arts, but I'm not a master of any of them. I just do them. And I believe in them, and I'm here to support them as an arts administrator.
So how was your transition from accounting into art administration?
And that's a great story. That's a great story.
So,
all right. I was working for a for-profit entity that was a government contractor as the comptroller for the corporation. And on the side at that time, I was either co-chair or chair of at least 3 festivals. 3. And when I say festivals, I'm talking huge. One was in Norfolk, Virginia. This is Norfolk, Virginia. And one was a 3-day festival that drew 1.5 million people in 3 days. I was in charge of, in that case, I wasn't in charge of the entire festival. I was in charge of only the land events. But can you imagine the land events? 8 stages, 425 volunteers, 25 subcommittees. And so, and my budget alone, just for the entertainment, was $225,000. That's not the logistics of it. That's not the stage, not the sound system. That's just to hire the musicians and the artists and whatever else I was bringing there. Another one was an African American festival that I was a creator of called Afram Fest. That drew about 60,000 people. And then there was the Ghent Arts Festival, which was a visual arts festival. Now I was doing this as a volunteer in the community. So one February, and I still have my 9-to-5 job as a comptroller. One February, one President's Day. This month, years and years ago now, my boss came into the office because we were closed. My boss came into the office to do some catch up on some work, the president of the company. The next day, and I came to work, he says, Chase, I stopped counting phone calls after the 40th one came in for you that had nothing to do with this job. He said, you need to find a job in the arts, girl. And so that June, at some function I was at during one of my festivals, a little social function we were having, I told somebody that had happened in February. The next thing you know, I had 3 phone calls, people offering me jobs in the arts. Now, in the meantime, I was working with a Black theater company in town. And so at that time, I had already done their production. Again, I was doing their books. I was doing stuff for them. So I was doing arts. Pardon me?
That was volunteer too?
Oh yeah, yes, of course. Anyway,
Yeah.
they didn't have any money. That's why I ended up doing it for, because I didn't understand why they were losing money every single time. Why didn't they have a little bit, even if it's $100 after a show? Can't you put the $100 to the next budget? But anyway, they weren't even doing budget, so it was like I was doing administration for them
Yeah.
as a volunteer, and so I kind of knew how that worked. So segueing into these big festivals, I could manage a budget because I was already an accountant, so I was already doing that stuff, right? But just so happened that when I ended up taking a job, when one of those three, I interviewed for 3 jobs after that, just in June, I made the comment and somebody offered me jobs. And I took a job in the arts, real in the arts. That was in 1986, as a matter of fact, when I took that. No, that was 84. And in 86, while I was on that job, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, their business school, which is now called the Flagel something, they have another name, um, they were offering this certification called Business Managing the Arts. So it was the business school realizing that nonprofit arts people needed to know how to run businesses. Okay. Now, of course, I already knew how to run one because I was already a comptroller for government, for a for-profit entity. So I already knew all the accounting and all that kind of stuff. So it was interesting because there were no degrees, not even masters, because this was like the first. North Carolina, University of North Carolina was the first college to offer anything for arts management.
Yeah.
Then the next time it came around, they started having master's degrees. Now that I think they have undergrad degrees in it, I think. But anyway, so I took that course. Fortunately, my new bosses saw that would be beneficial, and I got a grant also to do that. And I went and took that course, and I was already in arts administration by that time then. So, and it was an easy segue because I was already still doing the arts. I already had the business mind, and then I was easy for me to put it together, and that's how it happened.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds very natural and like it was meant to be your path.
Yeah. Yep. 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 It was. It was great. Yeah.
That's nice. And as far as what made you start Chase Arts?
Well, I started that before I left Norfolk, and I left Norfolk in 1988 to come north to make some money because nobody was paying me anything in Virginia. I had kids to go to college, so I came north. But I'd already started it because I was just doing little things in the community on the side, small, very small. Like I had a jazz listening club because there were no really people, at least African Americans, weren't getting together like I felt we should be getting together. And so I started doing, besides the festival that I was already doing, but I saw there was another need for some more people want to hear more jazz. And so I started a listening club. So that was the start of it. But then when I came north, I also had, I forgot to tell you, I started this blues society in Norfolk. I forgot about that one. I started a blues society in Norfolk before I left, and it's still going on, thank goodness. And because my old man at the time was a blues man. And so I started this blues society because I wanted to really have him have, I was supportive, and then I loved the music after being with him enough and listening to it. But anyway, so I started this society, and when I was doing that, I had a group that was out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, even though I lived in Norfolk, but I brought this group in from Fredericksburg and presented them at one of our festivals, and they needed a manager. And so, again, knowing accounting and knowing a lot of festival people, because people were calling me, and like I was calling other festival people all over the world and the country to get information on other acts and stuff like that to bring in. So I had a nice network of festivals, so these people knew they could count on me to help them get out there a little bit more. So I went on and took on a management of a performing arts, of a blues group, Sapphire, the Uppity Blues Women, all female group out of Fredericksburg. And so I needed to have a company. So I said, oh, Chase Arts. And so I became Chase Arts with that. And so I brought that forward when I came here, but it was laying low. It laid low all while I was in North Jersey. I just let that stay. It was just on the side, just quiet. But when I moved down here, there was nobody in Cape May of any color doing anything besides there's in schools or something. It might be something in school, but but not the community. And when I came out of hiding, when Tyler Perry put out Color Girls, And I was sitting around with 5 other Black women in town, and they were dying to see Tyler Perry's movie. You want to hear this story? This is a good one too. And I was saying, nah, I don't think so. I don't begrudge Tyler Perry. I'm going to be honest on camera. I don't begrudge Tyler Perry in it. Make your money. He's bringing our people to the theater. He was bringing our people to the theaters. He was bringing our people, giving our people work. So, but his stuff is not necessarily my cup of tea. But that's okay. But I did not want to go see Color Girls because I didn't want to see how he was going to do it. Okay. But they convinced me to come on and go. So, and I convinced them to tell them that they needed to know that I not convinced them, but I told them about it being a play first, and that he's taking the play and he's making it into a movie, which is fine. I said, but I just don't want to be tainted, whatever. So I went. And so when I came out of the theater, before we even got out of the darkness of the theater, you're listening to them. Did you see the movie, by the way?
Yeah, yes, I did.
Okay, so I'm listening to the girls, not calling girls because they're all younger than I am, but they were in their 50s and 40s, and they're saying things like, why did he throw the babies out the window? Janet Jackson was bad as I don't know what. Won't she bad? Oh, well, she was good. And I went, oh, Lord, I got to put on the play. They got to understand. First of all, they need to understand. And then secondly, Janet Jackson. Okay. Well, anyway, it's another whole story. Sorry, people who love Janet. But anyway, so I said, I got to put on the play now. Okay. So I did. And I even marketed so people thought, because around here, that's what people thought. Oh, she's doing Tyler Perry's thing. So they flocked to it. And I did. I actually put it out there to audition local people who thought they might want to do it. So I had lots of amateurs, but I also peppered it with some people who knew what they were doing. So you probably know Mia X from Newark. Yeah. Mia's one of my kids, okay, from my days in Newark, because I worked in Newark for years. Okay, so I had Mia X in it, and I had Shannon. Well, Shannon lives in California now, but Shannon's from Newark. Her name was Shannon. I can't even think of Shannon's. Well, she's Shannon Stafford now. Can't think of Shannon's last name, but she and me are tight. We're tight back in the day. Anyway, so Shannon lived in Philly at the time, like before Shannon, and one of my girlfriends from New York was an actress. So I had some ringers in there. Okay, couldn't have the lady in red be just some local girl that never acted before in her life. But anyway, so I put it on, and people were like, I know that the kids who were in it who had never known there was such a play, but had seen Tyler Perry's play, a movie. It took them a while to grasp things. I had Rodney directed it, by the way, Rodney Gilbert.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All Rodney's right. One of my mentees. Okay. Rodney directed it. And to see these girls, these young women, realize what the words really are saying and what they're speaking on, to see them get it was like all I needed. That was like why I did it. Do you know what I mean? And to see the audiences who came, who finally got it. That's what started off. So then since then I've done probably maybe 8 or 9 plays here in town. Yeah. Yep. So that got me back on the books. And then I'm getting ready to do, I have one that I've created with the help of the participants. That's really a residency. And Roddy was in my last one too, as a matter of fact, this one called Messages from Men, Machismo, Mayhem, Mirth, and Maturity. And it's a residency that I hold, and I invite the men of all ages. I want them at least 14 and up. I don't care if they're in their 80s, to come to me with a message they want to convey through the arts to the people. And so it was a success. And to me, it's a residency. So I do that as a residency. And then we put on a show. But it's not a talent show, but it's definitely, I put it together with their work.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's funny. We actually here at Above Our Studios do once a month men's meeting, and it's also called Messages for Men. So that's
cool. All right.
Yeah, that's all right.
Messages for men.
Messages for FOR.
Mine is from.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because the men are giving you all the message of what's in their hearts and minds and souls. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice,
so it's a little different, but it's still good. It's still cool.
Yeah. You're a genius.
Yeah. Yeah.